My future Mill sees her son as her husband. I am stuck in a 3-person relationship. I have talked briefly about this specific story in another post, but I need more outside perspective on the matter. I can't stop thinking about it. For context, my boyfriend and I have been living in the basement of his mother's house for about 5 months, where she lives alone and has done so with only her son, my BF, for the last 12 years. My boyfriend and I just recently celebrated our anniversary, and he got me flowers as a little gift of appreciation. He gets me flowers every couple months, which I adore about him. On our anniversary, my boyfriend's mom was having us build her some furniture for her before we went out for dinner. WTF, right? But that's besides the matter. She said to me this new table would look so good with flowers on it once a week to me from my son, wouldn't it? I awkwardly laughed. I could tell she may be slightly jealous that I'm receiving more attention than she is. My boyfriend said in response, "Are you just saying that because I got my name flowers this week?" And his mother says, word for word, "Well, if you got her flowers last, then it's my turn to get them next, right?" It was in that moment I realized I am sharing a grown-ass man with his mommy in a way that's borderline incestual. His mother wants the girlfriend treatment. The flowers, the quality time, to be invited every time we go out somewhere, the acts of service to build every piece of furniture she brings into the house, to guilt trip him, and me too, into doing all the work for her for anything she is capable to just do herself. I think she realized that his days of needing her are over, and it's killing her inside. She is finding anything around the house for him to do on his free for her to keep him busy with her. I voiced my concerns about this very story to my boyfriend last week, and he told me he also feels like she gives him every husband duty that needs to get done in the house, and he hates it. He says she just recently started becoming this overbearing over the past maybe 2 months, and he also believes it's because she does not feel needed by him, so she continues to fill his only time at the house with crap that revolves around her. I feel awful because I am the one who voiced this concern to begin with, and now my boyfriend is asking me what he should do as if I have any answers. I have never been in this position I am in, or even in his position. He said to me, "I know that boundaries need to be set in order for me to start establishing and focusing on us and our life together, and I can't do that with mommy sitting on my hip 24/7, which honestly applause asterisk, but he is one to find it hard to follow through with actions sometimes after saying the perfect things. He knows that boundaries need to be set, and I think he needs help with knowing just how to set these boundaries with such a manipulative, narcissistic, needy, and borderline insensual mother." Comment. Move out. You and he cannot set boundaries while you are living in her house. It will start a war with her that you can't win. You and your boyfriend need to make an exit plan. Children grow into adults, move out, and build their own lives. It's the circle of life, see The Lion King. Your BF's mom doesn't want him to leave, she wants him to continue being her son's band, husband without S***X. She needs to become an empty nester. She can't move on and build the next chapter in her life while he lives there and she can rely on him. So, you and he need to do whatever you need to do to earn enough income to live on your own in your own place. She will not like it, she will sabotage you and BF moving out. So, you need to not tell her about your plan until everything is set and you are ready to move out. She is going to cry and bully and guilt you to stay, she doesn't want to be alone, she can't afford the house by herself, etc. She is an adult, she needs to become an empty nester, and that means right-sizing her living situation to suit her current needs. It means getting out there and working to earn income, joining the women's club at church, volunteering, taking up a new hobby like yoga or walking. Just like you and BF need to learn and figure out living on your own, she will need to learn and figure out being an empty nester and having a fulfilling life as an empty nester. She is treating your BF like her emotional support animal. This isn't going to get any better until you move out and force her to accept her new chapter in her life. Agreed with this. However, I really wanted to add that this first step, the acknowledgement, is huge, as many women on this sub don't even get that much. Hold on to that. Let him know you understand it's going to be a struggle, it's going to be difficult, and that you want to make sure you are there for him when he needs you and you want to support him in any way he needs. Let him know you're a team. Communication is important, and it sounds like you both are on the right track. Move out, live your lives. Here's another piece of advice of my own. Don't date or sleep or make babies with our mama's boys and daddy's girls. Those types are riddled with so many red flags it's unreal, and those parents rule and speak through the spouses, so yeah, forever third wheel. You'll have to deal with them for the rest of your life if make kids with those PPL. If y'all fight, want to take a good guess as to where they'll run to, and if you guessed mommy or daddy, ding ding ding, give the PPL a cookie. You said it yourself, he says all the right things, but talk is cheap. Until he consistently shows you, through his actions, that he is getting untied from mommy's apron strings, don't believe a thing he says, and don't get pregnant or set a wedding date. When are you two going to get out of Mill's basement? Girl, when I tell you the story is eerily similar to mine and my fiancé's situation a couple years ago. We have been together for 10 years, since high school, so we lived in his mom's, single woman since my fiancé was 2 basement for a few years before finally buying our first place 2 years ago. When we lived there, she had him doing house chores and projects for her all the damn time, even though he worked 2 jobs and barely had any time to just chill as we were trying to move out ASAP. Even now, she gets upset if a week goes by without her being able to see him, always inviting us over for dinner, asking only him what he wants to eat, and often making non-vegetarian friendly meals. I've been vegetarian for 8 years and she fully knows this about me. When it's not dinner, she's asking him to come over and help her with the silliest things, like helping her out her newly washed duvet cover back on LOL, or crazy things that she should be hiring a professional to do, or else paying my fiancé to risk his safety doing, like climbing onto her roof and cleaning out her gutters. I'm concerned for when we start having kids that she's going to be obsessive over seeing them and how we're parenting them, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. My best advice for you and your boyfriend is to start setting boundaries now, because it will only get harder the longer this goes on and the longer you allow her to act this way. It is not normal for a grown woman to be so possessive over her son, but sadly Mills with this sick mindset don't recognize that they're crazy, so they likely won't get therapy for it. My fiancé is realizing now the strange ways he was raised and is going to need therapy as a 29-year-old man about what she put him through his whole life. Be that shining light in your boyfriend's life and show him what a good woman is supposed to do for her man, and he will realize the emotional abuse he underwent someday. Best of luck. Next story 2. Husband wants another baby, but I do not want one with him due to his family. My in-laws and I have never gotten along ever since I start to date my husband. The only one that I get along is with his dad, but his mom and I have always butt heads along with his sister and brother. When I first met his mom, she was rude and would always ignore me or turn her back on me when I would approach her to say hi. At one point I mentioned to my husband that I will stop coming around because I did not feel welcome. I found out I was pregnant shortly, and she became super nice during my pregnancy, which I decided to give her another chance for the sake of my babies. When I gave birth to my twins, I had asked to want to have some alone time with my baby. The other one was in the NICU, since it was my first time experiencing this. She threw a fit on how she was never going to be able to meet her grandbabies. My husband had her and his brother go into the room within an hour of me giving birth, never got a hello, a congratulations or how are you from them. They automatically grabbed my son, and his whole family arrived, which was overwhelming. Eventually the nurse kicked all of them out, including my husband, because they were unable to control my blood pressure. Shortly after I went through PPD, and it was the hardest time, mentally, emotionally and physically. I had stopped working to care for my babies, and my husband was in the military. She and her daughter continuously reminded my husband that the money he made was his money. One time, one of my friends took me and my babies to eat wings, and I offered to pay for myself. The plate was only $11. Prior to having my babies, I was extremely independent, so I wanted to feel that again. I didn't think it was a big deal because all of the bills had been paid and there was money in the account. I got a text from my husband stating that I was stealing his money. I was weak at that time. Even to this day I am still mad for not standing up for myself. I started crying and my friend withdrew the cash from her account and asked if it was okay for her to give him the money. I said yes. When my husband arrived home, she gave him the money and asked him if that was the kind of example he was showing to our sons. When she left, he teared the money and started calling me AB, and started throwing the chairs. I called his mom because I did not want to call the cops so he would not jeopardize his job in the military. She stated that she did not condone that, and that she was going to come over. She talked to him in a separate room. Months later I found out that she had picked up the ripped money, so if I did decide to call the cops there would have been no evidence. During my son's first birthday, she treated all of my guests poorly, and was constantly asking my husband which friend was the one that had told him off. I started working. My husband and I were working on things. On his sister's wedding, he begged for me to request off so we can go as a family. I did. When we showed up, his brother grabbed one of my sons and my husband had the other, and they went to greet all their family members. I don't know what was the point of having me there. I went separately to say hi to his extended family members. My son's baptism, we chose my cousins as the godparents since they have always been mutual and had the ceremony out of state where my family lived. We invited his family ahead of time, in which they decline on wanting to drive 6 hours away. Understood. On the day of my son's baptism, my mill sent my husband a nasty message stating that it should have been his sister and brother that should have been godparents. She also asked how it felt to not have his family there and that she was going to pray for him and my sons. Throughout the years there has been multiple times at which boundaries have been crossed. I have seen conversations from his brother to him bad-mouthing me. My husband defends himself stating that he doesn't say anything back and that should be enough for me. Every time his brother comes into town, my husband goes with my sons and I always stay behind. I don't want to deprive my sons for being around their family. I try to be mature and not let my sons get into the problems I have with them. But I will not deny that it is hurtful seeing pictures of my husband with his family, which includes his brother and his wife and 2 daughters, his sister, she got a divorce so it's only her now, my sons and his parents, happy. Almost as if I did not exist. I have been very upfront with my husband and he states that it's my fault. I don't go because I do not want to. In which I respond with, if you put the boundaries, I would. My mill also threw a fit a couple of weeks ago that she was going to have surgery and threw a fit that we needed to cancel our trip and take the boys to go see her before surgery. We cancelled. I bought her flowers and took the boys. Apparently she had been out shopping when we showed up to her house and her surgery had been cancelled. She thanked my husband and my sons for the flowers and turned the other way shortly after she looked at me. I also threw my sons a 5th birthday party. I invited all of their friends and their family members. I did not ask her for single dime. I placed centerpieces in the tables and my son's friends wanted to take them, which my mill started to be rude and yell at them to not take the centerpieces. She was also interrogating my husband what the total was during the party, which I also found distasteful. I have been asking my husband to have a talk with her. He does not see a purpose since she did not physically assault them and being rude is not a crime. I am currently working towards my law degree, and I have made it clear that once I am done, I will not be seeking to have more kids. My husband has been wanting another baby. Although I do want one more baby, I feel bad to say that I do not want it with him. I broke it down to him. I believe his family is mentally draining and I do not want to bring another child to this. He is upset about it and does not seem to understand. Am I wrong for this? I must also add, his brother moved 9 hours away to be closer to his wife's family. They never come for holidays, but he gets mad at my husband for us taking my sons to spend time with my mom and not his. When they threw his daughter's baptism, they all traveled for 9 hours, although we only had a 2-week notice. My husband was also not asked to be a godfather. Comment. I'm so sorry honey, but honestly the biggest villain in your story isn't your in-laws, it's actually your husband. He lets them disrespect you. He doesn't respect you himself. No man who respects his wife will call her a bitch for $11 and start throwing chairs. Honestly, from this post it looks like he doesn't even like you, let alone love you, and treats you as his kid's nanny and not like a wife or family. He doesn't respect you as his partner. Please seek marriage counseling or just leave him, because honestly he's not worth your time or energy. He wants another baby so he can further delay or fully prevent her inevitable independence. If she becomes a lawyer, she'll have the financial ability, and education, and likely also the connections, to divorce him easily. Get on an excellent form of birth control, get your degree, and then get as far away from this man and his family as possible with an ironclad custody agreement. My heart goes out to you. I was going to say myself that you don't have an in-laws problem, you have a husband problem. He has no problem mistreating you and choosing mommy over you. Whatever you do, do not let this man knock you up again. I feel bad for the example he's setting for your boys. Unless he makes some drastic changes, I wouldn't want to be with a man who lets his family treat his spouse the way he does. Does your husband even like or love you? From what you have posted, it doesn't seem that he does. No disrespect, but man, you could do better. That whole family sounds incredibly mean and toxic. Run and find a better man stat. I totally agree with Notumfordumfu_KS. Your husband is your number one problem. After reading your post, I was hoping it would end with I beat the sh*t out of him and sent him home to mommy. Your husband has no respect for you or your family unit of 4. He values his birth family more. I don't usually say things like divorce him, but I hope one day to see a post update that says you have finished law school and now have a happy life with your twins, minus your sh*tty husband. Girl, getting a law degree, you must know you need to start documenting everything if you haven't already. Your husband is toxic and abusive. Sure, his parents are evil, but he's just as bad, and his parents aren't your issue in this situation, he is. Gather your evidence, recordings, text messages, everything you need, and before you start making a salary as a lawyer and he can claim he needs alimony, you should work on leaving him and getting full custody of your babies, his family, and he cannot be trusted alone with them. Surely someone can help advise you. This is horrible and toxic.